So, fighting in self-defense. I would say that a fight is not self-defense, and self-defense is not a fight. I would explain it by saying that in self-defense, one of the parties, at least one of the people, don't want to be there. And in a fight, both people agree. And fighting can occur on the street. Two people say, hey, we're going to take this outside. They get in a fight, or they start arguing and they both put their fists up and they start fighting. It can also occur in sport, like boxing or MMA, whatever, point sparring, anything to challenge yourself. But there is a difference. In self-defense, if you're being attacked and you don't want to be there and you don't want it to happen, there's no ego involved. Whereas in a fight, sometimes the ego can be involved. It's for either reasons of performance or because you want to dominate someone and get all the praise for that. So it could be for either of those, any of those. In fighting, the goal is to win. And in self-defense, the goal is to exit, to get out of there, to be safe, and to live your life and get out as unharmed as possible. In a fight, someone might get beat up, and the other person might just keep beating them or chase after them. But in self-defense, that's actually not. It's not self-defense if you're doing that. So you can't chase after someone if they're running away. Otherwise, you're the aggressor. And also in self-defense, there are no rules. Weapons can be involved, multiple opponents, anything goes. But in fighting, there are rules. Even if you're going outside, like you go outside for a fight. Often people will break you up if it gets too nasty. So often there's rules when it's a fight, and self-defense, anything goes. You need to survive. I was told I was told a story once by one of my instructors where this is a long time ago. He talked about a UFC champion, and he had set up a table at some event, and he was signing autographs, and some big guy kind of came up behind his table and just, punched him really hard, like in the back of the head, and, knocked him out. And he didn't even see it coming. And, that's a good example of someone who is a great fighter, one of the best fighters. But there was no awareness or perception of self-defense. Because you need to be aware of your surroundings for self-defense, or something like that happens. This was not in a cage, where two people are ready. So, that was a good example to me of the difference between the two. And, if you made a Venn diagram of these two, the two circles that encompass all those areas would overlap. There's a big crossover, because good fighters can usually defend themselves in a lot of situations, but not all. And people who are very good at self-defense often can fight, but they are they're not mutually exclusive, and there's some overlap. But knowing the difference between self-defense and fighting is key for a martial artist. Knowing that I'm not going to go out there and fight. I'm going to get out of this situation alive in any means I can, whether it's through talk or observation, whatever I need to do. And fighting is a whole different game. I would argue that street fighting isn't really for martial artists. If you want to challenge yourself, I guess put yourself out there with some sort of rules or something like that. But anyway, that was my thought for the day. Something to think about.